Hello everyone, welcome back to Govt Drish Lucent series part 36. So yes, we have covered a lot of the topics which includes Asian history, medieval history, modern history, Gandhi's area, like, or we can say the Gandhi's era, from and his reign, like what he did, all the time periods, then other prominent reformers, leaders, political leaders of that time. We have covered a lot of it. So now we will get started with the Swaraj Party in this. If you want to grab such details, then you can check our other videos for reference, as you have already marked up all the questions which are important, and you can frame questions out of it very easily. Let's know about the Swaraj Party. It was in 1923, and it was Gandhi's decision. Like, he was very much frustrated, as after the Chori Chora incident, people became very much violent. So he had called off the agitation. Now, this decision of calling off also faced a lot of criticism, like Modi Lal Nehru, C.R. Das, and N.C. Kelkar. Like, they had only organized the Swaraj Party, so they were very much disappointment among them. Now, the foundation day of it was at 1923, and it was known as the Congress Khilafat Swaraj Party. Then they had given an alternative, like, okay, so you have called off, now we will give an alternative. What was that? Now they had it was widespread, like it was in whole country, like that protest was going on in whole country. So then they had decided, like, in order to avoid that sort of widespread disobedience, they thought of restricting it to a restricted place. And they also encouraged all its members, like, do enter this council, for this movement. And then it was also very much important, like elections were held so that the legislature would come in their hands. And they also used moral pressure to compel the authority that, okay, so we want self-government, we want Swaraj, as Swaraj is my birthright and I shall have it, as Bal Gangadhar Tilak gave this dialogue, if you remember. So they are all fought for Swaraj. Just sum up from this. This is important, like, I'm just giving you the summary of the whole paragraph. Now, in the elections held in 1923, what happened? The Swaraj Party, they had captured 45 of the 145 seats, and then even in the provincial elections, they didn't get much seat, but in the central province, they had a clear majority. Then in Bengal, the Swaraj Party, it became the largest party. They followed, like, undiluted opposition. Then they had all released the political prisoners, like reformers. They were arrested during the Britishers' reign, so they all were released. Then there were many such laws that were repealed, and which was given by the British government. And then what happened after C.R. Das' death? They followed a policy of cooperation with the government, and then finally the party broke up in 1926. Now, what happened in Simon Commission 27? They had induced the British government to review the working of the hierarchy system. Then came the Montag Shell Force reforms of 1919, and now they had appointed the Simon Commission in November 1927 for the task. Now, all the members were Europeans, means whites. They, what happened, like, all the members in the commission, they were Europeans or foreigners. There was no Indian commissioner or any Indian officers there, so it was quite insulting for India. So they had thought of, or they decided of, boycotting the commission. And then when the commission had visited, they had cried, like, Simon, go back. Now, they had also given demonstrations against the Simon Commission in Lahore. Then there was Lathi blow, and it was on Lal Lajpat Rai. And Bhagat Singh also died. We all know that he was killed by the British government, and their comrades were there, like, who used to support Bhagat Singh. They were also there to seek avenge, like, as they had killed then white official whose name was Saunders in December 1928. Now let's know, this is important, what was the police official name and who was killed, and who's killed. Nehru Committee report, that was in 1928, and this was under the chairmanship of Motilal Nehru. And they had determined the principles of the constitutions before drafting it, like the drafting hadn't taken place. These were just the principles. Now, who were the chief architects? Motilal Nehru and Tej Bahadur Sapru. And there was also Indian dominance status or complete independence. Now, 14 points of Jinnah, March 9, 1929. Jinnah was the leader of Muslim League and he did not accept the Nehru report. Then they drew up a list of demands and it was called the 14 points of Jinnah. Now, let's know about the Lahore session. That was in December 1929. Now, its annual session and it was held in Lahore. So, was a presidentship and the presidentship was under Jawaharlal Nehru. Now, they had passed a resolution. They declared that okay, now we will get complete independence, and it was known as the Purna Swaraj. And this had, taken up the goal. Like this was the goal of their movement. They had adopted the tricolor on December 31, 1929, and it was unfurled on. And then January 26 was fixed as the Independence Day, which was decided to be celebrated as Independence Day only. But what happened is that we don't celebrate that day as Independence Day, we celebrate another day. And let's know what happened after this. Then we had that Salt Satyagraha, which was done by Gandhiji, and it was in the year 1930. Now, his motive was to achieve complete independence, not half, not full, like complete, like everything will be under the Indians. So, this was a civil disobedience movement which he had launched, and then he had 78 followers. Then he had started from from Sabarmati Ashram, that was in March 12, 1930, and his village name was Dandi. And from there he had moved to break the salt law. He had covered a distance of about 240 miles. That was just in 24 days. Yes. And then he reached the seashore on April 6. He broke the salt law by picking up salt from the seashore as it was banned. So he had broke that. And then he inaugurated the civil disobedience movement. And it is one of the most important movement in the international movement, and it was held countrywide. So it was so powerful that people were becoming more patriotic, and the soldiers, they were also becoming more patriotic towards the country. Then they had refused to fire on the soldiers. They refused, like patriotism came in their blood, so they refused to fire at Peshawar. Then Gandhiji was arrested in 1930 May 5. So these dates are very important. Make a note of that. Then there was foreign goods boycott, that and ladies also participated. So I'm giving a summary of the whole para, so you need not learn all the line by line and just waste your time. I'm giving a summary of the whole para. Just know it, understand it, and then you're head off. Then there was repressive measures, that was mass arrest, lathi charge, and about 1 lakh people went in jail in that time. A huge number. Now let's know about the first roundtable conference. That was in 1930 and it was held on London, November 12, 1930. Now, first roundtable conference, it discussed the Simon Commission and it boycotted the INC boycotted it, and they had also proposed self-government in the sub-provinces, and they had also said that there will be Indians will be running the government and in British India as well as the princely states of the center. Now, there were the representatives of Muslim League, liberals and other parties. They had went, like INC had boycotted, but Muslim League had attended the discussion of the commission report. But as the main party was absent, it got adjourned and there was no such conclusion. Then this Gandhi Irwin Pact, that was in March 5, 1931. Sapru and Jayakar. These were two statesmen, Sapru and Jayakar. They thought of bringing rapprochement between Gandhi and the government. So there were 6 meetings done with Viceroy Lord Irwin, and finally they laid a pact between the two on March 1905. Now they in this Congress called off the movement, and then they had agreed to join the roundtable conference. So this was one of the important facts, so make a note of that. Then we have second roundtable conference. It was held in London. Lord Wellington was Viceroy at that time, and then who had attended on Gandhiji had attended on behalf of the INC, and then they didn't expect much from the conference. Like they knew that whatever decisions they will take in their favor only, not their favors. So mm, imperialist political forces, they had only controlled the British government in London, and much not economic or political concessions were given to India, so that it could bring its independence. So this was in their mind, like we cannot give much freedom to India. So Gandhiji did not agree with British Prime Minister Ramsay MacDonald, whatever policies he had laid down, so it was not such successful one. Now Jawaharlal Nehru, under his presidency, the Indian National Congress passed a resolution which was called Purna Swaraj, means complete independence, and this was the aim or the goal of the national movement. 1929, the tricolor was unfurled. That was in December 31, and this was to be celebrated every year. Okay, so that's all for today. Go and take a look, like on the Swaraj Party, Salmon Commission, and Gandhi Irwin Pact, Dandi March, Salt Satyagraha, first roundtable conference, second roundtable. These are very important and which are very common. So go make notes out of it. Meet me in our next video with more such information for your benefit. Till then, take care. See you.